that level where Central Florida is. So I guess we'll see what's going on with that in the next couple years. But I really like this hire. I'm going to give it a B, just because I think they could have gone out and gotten somebody bigger. But at the same time, getting a young offensive coordinator who's offensive mind, who's very clearly developed some great offenses in his time there, I like it. I like it a lot. It's a B. I think South Florida is going to be a good team in the coming years. UNLV fired Tony Sanchez after 5 years in Las Vegas, 20-40. Never made a bowl game. They hired him after he had won 6 state championships in 6 years at Bishop Gorman in California, so that was kind of a chance they took. It looks like they're taking another chance in Marcus Arroyo, the offensive coordinator from Oregon, who to his credit, developed Justin Herbert into one of the top quarterbacks in the draft this year. He's prior to being the Oregon offensive coordinator in 2017, he was at OK State as a running backs coach in 2016. He was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback coach in 2014. He was the Southern Miss offensive coordinator in 2013, the Cal offensive coordinator in 2012, and the San Jose State offensive coordinator in 2007. So he's been, essentially, since he was 27 years old, leading offenses on the FBS level, which is great. You want to have all that. You want to have great experience like that. He's 39 years old. I think it's a good hire. I'm going to give it a B. But the names that were being thrown out there for the UNLV job, names like Dave Aranda, Steve Sarkisian, Butch Jones, these are way bigger names than Marcus Arroyo. And UNLV is in a position right now, they're opening a new stadium in the next couple years. They're going to be pumping so much money into that program that Marcus Arroyo needs to win immediately. Because they will fire somebody and think that they can go out there and give an absolute bag to anybody they want. They think that the Las Vegas money is good enough to claim anybody they want. So I'm gonna give it a C, but we'll see what happens. UT San Antonio fired Frank Wilson after 4 years. Unspectacular years, 1 bowl game. He had gotten the job after being a running backs coach and recruiting coordinator at an SEC school. So what they do, they went out and hired a recruiting coordinator and running backs coach from an SEC school. They hired Jeff Traylor from Arkansas, who was a longtime Texas high school coach before that. SMU offensive coordinator in 2017. So he followed Chad Morris around for a little bit. This is going to get a D. I think UT San Antonio is like UNLV. They're in a big market. They're the only team in that market. There's not a professional sports team there. There's not a professional football team there. They needed to go out and get somebody big, and they pretty much just hired old white Frank Wilson, who had failed there. This is a bad move. I'm baffled that they didn't go out and try to get Chad Morris or some other guy that can recruit Texas really well, and that has also proven in the past they can coach really well. Because Frank Wilson was a good recruiter. He was very clearly not a good coach from the product he was put on the field. So, yeah, I'm going to give that one a D for UTSA. It's a cool logo. They're in San Antonio. They play in the Alamo Dome. You want them to be good, but it just looks like that's not happening right now in the Lone Star State. The most shocking coaching change this year happened when Chris Peterson, who is one of the consensus, one of the top 10 coaches in college football, retired after 6 years at Washington and after 7 years at Boise State. He was 54-26 in 6 years at Washington, won the Pac-12 twice, went to the college football playoff in 2016, 1-4 in bowl games, 34-20 against the Pac-12. He was very clearly building something. This year was bad for whatever reason. I was surprised by how bad Washington was this year with Hunter Eason at quarterback. Before that, he became famous for being the head coach of the Boise State teams that won BCS Bowls 92-12 in 7 years at Boise from 2006 to 2013. He retired, and he didn't really give a reason for it. He said stress was a big part of it, which, I mean, he's not Urban Meyer, so I'm going to take him at his word for it when he says he's retired, but it's just weird timing is all. I think it's a bad season, retires because of stress. I don't think he was going to get fired, but I just find the timing very much weird. He named his own successor, Jimmy Lake, the defensive coordinator, who had been with Peterson since 2012 at Boise. He was a DB coach mainly, specialized in defensive backs, which Washington has had several defensive backs taken in the first round. Buda Baker, probably the most well-known. In Boise State, he had a safety taken in the first round, Kyle Wilson, who didn't turn into anything in the pros, but was really good at Boise State. Jimmy Lake's 42 years old. It's another young head coach. I mean, most of these head coaches are in their early 40s, late 30s. I mean, it's a very young head coaching class coming up. So I'm going to give – that one's weird. I'm going to give it a C+, just because I don't know that much about Jimmy Lake, and I don't know what the whole situation is about Washington, if they're going to be in trouble for cheating or what. So it's one of those weird situations where you don't know a whole lot about it. The last coach change we're going to talk about is at Appalachian State, because I was informed last night that there is a personal connection for me with this one, apparently. Eli Drinkwitz hired away by Missouri after 1 year. Appalachian State names offensive line coach and interim head coach Sean Clark as their head coach. Clark, O-line coach at App State since 2016, O-line coach at Kent State from 13 to 15, O-line coach at Purdue from 2009-2012 under Danny Hope. He played football at Appalachian State, was a two-time all-conference offensive lineman there. But here's where I find out something yesterday that I did not know about. He's from West Virginia, went to George Washington High School in Charleston. This guy's like friends with my dad. Like from what I've been told, like there's stories that I can't be told about him partying with my dad. Like my dad said, like I didn't know who this guy was. Normally I'm updated on where all my dad's high school and college friends are doing. I didn't know that this guy is an offensive line coach in FBS football and is now the head coach at one of the more consistently successful programs in all of college football, which is crazy. I mean, it's awesome. I didn't know that. He's 44 years old, which makes sense because that's how old my dad is, I think. But yeah, no, this is awesome. I'm very glad. Always, I'm a parent. I hope he's a friend of the program. If he's a friend of my dad, he's probably a friend of the program. So it's always good to see a friend of the program succeed. And yeah, that's all of the coaching changes for right now. So I think that it's fitting at the end of my first show. Hope you guys listen to this. Hope you guys stuck with me through it. This is something I really want to do. I'm hoping to make a career out of this. This probably wasn't the great first run, but we'll see. We'll work on it from here. We'll get better. We'll get some people in here. I know I got my friend John Fink coming in to preview bowl games with me next week at some point. We'll try to get some other people that I know on. I know a bunch of you want to talk sports. A bunch of you have takes. Most of them are bad. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. The Cincinnati Bengals are 2 O-linemen and a quarterback away from being one of the top 6 teams in the AFC because of the talent they have on the skill positions on offense and defense, and the fact they still have Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap on the defensive line. They add Joe Burrow to an offense that has Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, Joe Mixon. Maybe one of the Titans developed into something. Maybe Auden Tate keeps developing, and he's a great number 3 receiver. And Tyler Boyd can move to the slot. Maybe we don't need A.J. Green. Maybe we trade A.J. Green for a first-round draft pick. How about that? Maybe we trade Geno Atkins for first-round draft pick. Get as many draft picks as you can. Get a young team. We need this. We need to have a good young team to build around Joe Burrow. Don't make Joe Burrow play in the system. Build your system around Joe Burrow. It works so much better when you build a system around the quarterback than when you make the quarterback play in the system. It's built so much better. I just hope he ends up there. I hope he don't make a mistake and take Chase Young or, God forbid, Justin Herbert. So thank you so much. This is my closing thought is about Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I'd like to shout out anybody that likes talking sports. That's the end of the episode shout out. So thank you very much, and please come on back.
Stand here today, knowing that deep in my heart, they'll fall to ruin